Hey, everybody. We are back for another testimony from the Ascend program, and we have Jessmar with us this time. Hey, and would you like to introduce yourself a bit?
Hey guys, my name is Jessmar. I'm 23 years old, um, and I live in Elizabeth, New Jersey. Um, and I joined the Ascent program for the second time this past quarter, and I could not have been more proud of the experience I had.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for coming on and being willing to share your experience. So, this was your second time. Was it the second time you joined like consecutively, or did you have a break in
No,
between?
no, no. Yeah, I took a break. I took a break in between. I'm not gonna lie, I got a little cocky after
Mm.
the first quarter.
Yeah.
I thought, I learned a lot from the group meetings, and I felt like I could take on take on the world, right? But I was completely wrong. Yeah,
Okay.
I got myself tied up in terrible circumstances that led me back to Ascent.
Yeah. Are you willing to dive a bit deeper into what brought you back to Ascend and like inspired you to rejoin?
Yeah, yeah. You know, in short, I realized how little my itinerary was. I hadn't exactly gathered as many tools as I could grab, in order to take life on. I've always sought a spouse, and I've always felt like there was a right way to do it. And was always looking for that. I always sought after who my spouse was, or who my spouse is going to be. I've always been driven to try my own ways of achieving that. I spent way too many years being unsuccessful enough that it convinced me that I had no idea what I was doing. So that led me back to Ascend. I feel like this is how to say this, my home base, a place to kind of get back on the right page, per se. Because, I mean, not only was Ascend useful, or is Ascend useful for single men, but is also very useful for those who are newlywed, those brand new in their relationships who want to learn how to love their spouse. So I see. I mean, I did it. I saw that value in Ascend, which is why I came back
Mm.
as short as I could put it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So yeah, I'm hearing you wanted to be able to like learn more tools, like acquire more tools through Ascend, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And I guess continue your healing, continue your recovery.
yeah. It's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah.
That was really hard. I don't know what my journey to healing looks like, but I know it's a necessary path to take. It's just, healing doesn't always look so clear. And I think that's one of the hardest aspects of this journey is knowing the steps and process it takes to purely heal from your trauma. It's very hard to figure out. It's like somebody has the answers, but you don't know who this person is. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, man. It's like sounds like you were able to like see glimpses here and there, right? Like of like the need for healing and recovery, perhaps in like the previous ascent
yeah.
cycles. Yeah. And then now you feel like there's a need for you to continue and like dig deeper and
Because I always feel like I always feel like I can achieve a better version of myself. Like there is no, how do I say this? If I hold myself to higher standards, then there's always more to achieve, as far as I'm concerned.
yeah. Yeah, I mean that's amazing. It's for a lot of people, um well, not a lot of people, but for to some people it can seem like I'm gonna join one cycle of ascent, right? 3 months, and then once I'm through this, I'm done and I'm recovered and I'm healed and it's a once done, once forever done kind of thing. But then for many they realize actually it's like with so many things in life, it's about acquiring a lifestyle, right? And continuing practicing for month, a year, and years, right, into our life. So like
Yeah.
a little like in fitness, right? People try to get in shape and get a gym membership for 3 months and then want to be the buffest they've ever been. But um, I just read this recently, but apparently you're just considered entering the like field of fitness once you're like 2, 3, 4 years into the whole game.
I agree. That's actually a pretty great analogy in fitness, especially for beginners, people who have, they're on their first day of going to the gym. They want to achieve the physique that they want, right? And let's say we can relate this to people who are trying to beat their pornography habits. For beginners in weightlifting, they believe that they need to lift the heaviest dumbbell in the gym in order to gain muscle, so that they can achieve their physique. When it takes little bits of, how to say this, kind of like progress,
Mhm.
right? Like you start light, you start with small practices, and then once you're strong enough to do that as a warm up, then you move on to heavier dumbbells, bigger practices, more that now that you've built a little bit more muscle, right? And then comes later on, eventually, the very, very hard exercises, right? But high reward.
Mm.
In terms of beating pornography, what is common is people, they quit cold turkey. They might have been doing it every single day for the past year, but the moment that they want to change, right, they go completely mad over this insane condition to just quit porn entirely. But what Ascend has helped me to realize is that, by putting in a daily effort to learn practices and to practice these these lessons that you intake from all these articles, um, you get better little by little by little. And I feel like that's just, I couldn't agree more with that strategy. It's foolproof. I mean, there's evidence in that, and that's why I'm on this boat. I'm on the high noon boat. I'm on that sun boat. You guys gave us quality articles. They were so spot on. They were relatable, and they spoke to us, spoke to me internally. It really made me think about how much I really wanted this, and really made me think of how I can achieve, beating this habit. It's I was really happy with my experience.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you for hopping on the analogy, right? The fitness analogy and bringing it into your own story. That's really cool to hear that this was really impactful, the articles and the readings. So over your like past SN experience, what were some of the like key lessons that you were able to take away?
So in one of the articles, right, it was explaining that we have the sexual drive, right, that we hone. We tend to demonize this sexual drive, say that it's perverted, right, and it's lustful. But in this article, it kind of it gave a different, it pretty much put a spin to it by saying your sexual drive can be used as a tool to create a relationship or intimacy with your spouse. And this is great advice for those who are newlyweds, is that the drive that they have, they don't have to they don't have to relieve their sexual drive towards their partners. It's just sexually. They can actually create something. They can do something else. They can clean their bed, right? Pretty much any forms of love. This pretty much fits into the concept of love language, right? So you use your drive, sexual drive, like how much you love your spouse, that drive to, you know, make dinner for them, do laundry for them, you know, take them really nice places, really nice dates. That sexual drive doesn't have to be something ugly or something to be ashamed of. You could actually use it as something to be something to show just how much you love your spouse. To use it to create a loving environment. It really defeats the whole culture of hating yourself for
Mm.
yeah having this natural part of you. So
Mm.
that article, it really changed my mind because of I've always been so selfish about my the thoughts and ideas of my future marriage, right? Or like I came up with this list of like things like my spouse has to check these boxes, right, in order to please me. So that sounds very selfish,
Mm.
right? But after that, during that article, reading that article, all I could think about was, you know what I really care about? I care about the kind of life and the kind of parents, the kind of mother that my child is going to have. And that just changed it. That just, you know, all the boxes disappeared. It's not that that there are no boxes to check off, but I've crossed off some very unnecessary and unimportant boxes. Just remove them. Like the the shallow stuff. I don't want to get into it, but I think you can kind of picture what
Mm.
that looks like. So if it weren't for scent, you know, I wouldn't have even read that article, which I can now confidently say that this this goal to find my spouse is not just a personal gain, but also a gain for my future family. So
Mm.
that's something that I'm really proud to be investing in. Just
Wow. Yeah.
the first thing that came up to my head.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, man, for sharing your reflection about that lesson that stood out to you, right? And it sounds like, and you can let me know if this resonates, right, for you. It's that through these lessons, in a sense, right, you were able to kind of understand the impact that addictions like porn and masturbation like have in our life, and how that impacts, right, like the check boxes we invent for our search for a spouse, for example, right? Like what frame does a spouse need to fit into? And a lot of that, without noticing, gets defined by all the content we've given ourselves for like a long time. And it sounds like through the content and the lessons, in a sense, you were able to kind of change your concept about sexuality on one hand, and then also about what actually matters in your life, right? And what you want to be looking for and investing into, and how that would impact your whole life, right? You said not only for your future spouse's sake, but actually for your life's sake, right? And your fulfillment. Yeah. Does that resonate?
I,
Like, click?
I agree. Yeah. I'm just really looking out for what's the most valuable right now, um, and for the future. Yeah, it feels like a duty, really, to
Yeah.
give this chance all I have.
Mm. Mm. Yeah. So you're on a mission on the Hainan boat, right? Something like
Right?
that.
I'm riding through the tides.
Yeah. Cool. That's a great visual picture. Um, so that was a great lesson. Were there any challenges, like as you were participating in Ascend and going through the groups? Any
Yeah,
challenges?
yeah, for sure, for sure. When I joined Ascend, right, and I had finally told myself that I was going to change for the better. My sexual urges, they have never been stronger. Never been. It's like it's like when your body's kind of catching up, right? Getting on the same page, beating this habit is just you just crave it more. Because that's what an addiction does, right? Like that voice in the back of your head just tells you just one more, and then tomorrow you'll be done, right? That temptation just keeps going stronger and stronger and stronger. I had to deal with that throughout the entire quarter. I'm telling you, I kind of just had to let go without forcing anything. Just even though I didn't want to, I just knew that I just knew that there's something that I need to learn from falling and then getting back up, right? There's value in that. And I learned that throughout these past few months is in order to achieve, you know, changing or change, right? Or any self improvement, you need to learn how to fail. And I mean that in the sense of you got to learn how to mess up and then do it again the next time better. It's just the concept of never giving up, right? But it's falling forward. I feel like you've heard this
Hmm.
uh this term before. It's falling forward. People have to learn that failure is part of the process. Yeah, challenges. I let myself act out, and I would analyze, kind of self-analyze. You know, what triggered me? What was it, and what was it that made me want to act out? And that's what was so valuable about those challenges. Just letting go. Just I finally got to read myself. As far as I'm concerned, the temptations won over me. All right, this past quarter, I'm gonna admit, yeah, this wasn't my strongest, but it's just me getting back in the game. You know, I'm pulling up rookie numbers. I was able to achieve 2 weeks, right? And that's with the strength of God.
Hmm.
You know, and I find value in that too. Inviting God into your journey, it
Hmm.
just gives you this sword and armor, right? But you gotta have really strong faith. I spent nights where you know I had like those urges would come back, but I, you know, removed everything that could possibly be triggering me at that very moment. And, you know, just tried to relax and get on the same page, get on the page of, yeah, staying abstinent. But that was hard. It's really hard. For 2 weeks, I had to deal with that. Really, really tough. But very high reward. So I'd still recommend it. And,
Hmm.
that gave me hope. That practice gave me hope. It was a lot of internal work, but I saw hope through God. I saw how much strength He actually holds. And so, I mean, not only has it given me a new, you know, perspective on the journey, but it has also strengthened my faith. That's one of the moments that I'm really, really, really proud of. Honestly, inspiring, game changing. My life has never been the same since.
Yeah, that's great. Sometimes those challenging moments, right? Experiencing the darkest places in our lives, being able to walk through the shadows,
Yeah.
so that we can let the light in on them, right? Eventually. Yeah, what creates life changing moments, and it sounds like you were able, right, to have that experience last cycle of ascent,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
yeah, and continue on the journey. So that sounds really really cool, and thank you for sharing your journey, the challenges you faced and are still there, right? But what you've learned from them, and your concept of falling forward, right? That's something that is a healthy mindset for everybody, right? Like that, just the notion of, oh, we've made mistakes, right? And it's just a welcome to life invitation. We're all we're all in on going to experience more mistakes in our life, and how can we learn from them and treat them as education instead of failure?
I like that. It's honestly, there's no better way.
Hmm.
No success without failure.
Yeah.
Honestly, imagine being a scientist, right, and trying to come up with the best flying rocket. You can't improve as a scientist if you don't if you're not constantly bouncing off ideas, trying out new ideas, right? Seeing what works and what doesn't. And in order for you to know what works, you have to know what doesn't. Now that takes failure. That takes trial and error. And the process becomes a lot harder when people don't realize that. It's truly valuable. It's truly one of the most valuable lessons there is to self improvement and to achieving anything at all. Really, it's it's having the guts to fail, no matter how embarrassing, no matter how bad it may look on you. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how you came in, you know?
So now that you've been through the program twice, right? Like once really recently, where are you at now? And like what's next for you? Where are you headed and what has the send change for you so far?
I'm already signed up for the next quarter. I am.
Yeah.
Once I saw the email pop up, I clicked and I joined immediately. I am sticking through this, you know, until I feel like I've learned, enough. I've not how do I say this? There's a better way to say this, but there's just no way that I have figured out everything within these past couple of months. There's just no way. So I'm invested in how well Ascend can improve my life, you know, just by being in it. So however long that takes to be completely fulfilled, you know, I'm willing to write it out after this. So I'm already joining the next one. Probably join the one after that. Probably join the one after that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows?
All right. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So you're in for the long game,
Yeah.
right?
I don't want to get cocky again.
Mm. Yeah. It's really progress over perfection, right?
Yeah.
And being able to chip away at it one step at a time and learn lessons that sink in and settle and are accessible like on a daily base for us,
Mm.
um, without getting forgotten, right? And yeah, so thank you for sharing. And it sounds like you're serious about your growth, your healing, and continuing recovery.
Thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah,
I'm glad it's serious.
yeah. Is there anything else that you'd like to share before we wrap up?
I just like to shout out my team, with David Horano, Andrew Schultz,
Hmm.
Abraham Salazar. I think it's Nick, his last name. But anyway, these guys, they made the group just impactful. They made everything better, and I could not have asked.
Cool. Yeah. Great. So that was your team, right? The companionship last cycle, and there'll be some new guys this cycle. All right. Yeah. Yeah, we're in it together, right? And we realize that we're not alone in this fight and on this boat, but there are many other boats and there are many other people on the same boat as us, and better try to put those sails in place together instead of burning out ourselves. And
Yeah. That is one of the goals, is to realize that we're not on our own. That makes us, yeah, it makes us feel like we're actually on the right path. And there's other people that are fighting the fight just like you are. It just makes you want to, you know, get out of it, you know, work on getting out of it while they are. It's true. It's a lot more fun this way.
yeah, man, sounds good. Sounds like you'll be in for a nice, exciting new quarter, new cycle.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah, thanks for sharing your story. Thanks everybody for listening, and we'll see everyone again for the next testimony.
Thanks for having me.